Hey guys, Adam here with AmericanTrucks.com, and today we're taking a closer look at, listening to, and installing the Aero Exhaust Direct Fit Performance Muffler with the aggressive sound for the 09 to 18 Ram 1500 with factory dual exhausts. Now, as you just heard from our sound clips, this is a great option for the guys looking for an aggressive sound, like I just said. This muffler here is going to be a more affordable option to beef up the sound profile of your Ram 1500. And as you heard, I'm giving it 3 out of 5 on our loudness meter as far as mufflers go. Now, of course, getting a full catback replacement can really beef up the volume even more, and it can definitely give it a more unique tone. But if you're not looking to spend upwards of $1,000+ on a full catback system, especially one that's going to be complete with the dual exhaust, then you might be interested in just a muffler swap, which can be very impactful to the sound by itself. And it's a little bit easier of an install and a quicker one at that. Now, this muffler here is from Aero Exhaust. Aero is making some really high quality 304 stainless performance exhausts. This one here uses a bullet style muffler with little to no baffling on the inside, so it really opens up that sound profile, and it can even give you a bump in horsepower and torque. Now, we're not talking dozens upon dozens of horsepower, but you can see a small bump in performance there, especially in the throttle response and acceleration department. Now, when it comes to that sound, you get a really rough rumble at idle, you get a louder bark when it comes to wide open throttle. At red light to red light on your daily commute, you get a really deep growl. Keep in mind, guys, because this is removing a lot of the baffling on the inside of that muffler and is replacing it with that small bullet style muffler, you may get a little bit of drone at some of the lower RPMs, especially at highway speeds. Now, the price tag for this guy is going to come in right around $400. Install, I'm going to give 1 out of 3 wrenches on our difficulty meter, simply because it is a pretty straightforward install. You're only really clamping on 3 clamps. What I recommend removing are the 2 tailpipes, just sliding them off of the factory muffler, but leaving them hung up. Unbolt the muffler from the front end, swap them out, and then hook back up the tailpipes. With that said, it'll take you about an hour, maybe an hour and a half from start to finish. I'll walk you through that whole process. What do you say we get started? All right, tools used in this install include an impact gun, a ratchet, 15 and 16 millimeter deep sockets. Hanger removal tool is definitely recommended, a pry bar of various sizes, and WD-40. First up, we're going to loosen up all 3 clamps holding on the factory muffler. We're going to start here with the extension pipe that goes to your cats. Now, this guy is a 16 millimeter nut, so I have that on my ratchet here. You can use an impact gun for this one, but you'll have to switch over to a ratchet for the other one, so I'm just going to start here. I'm gonna loosen this guy all the way up and separate the clamp. Now we can repeat that for the other 2. Now we're switching over to a 15 millimeter socket, and we're gonna take off these 2 holding on the tailpipes to the muffler outlet. All right, next step, we're gonna have to focus on our hangers and the factory isolators above the muffler. Now, before we do anything, I'm gonna grab WD-40 and I'm just gonna spray it right inside there where the hanger connects to that isolator, just to lube it up and make it easier on us. Do that for both of them. All right, next up, grab your hanger removal tool and we're gonna pop these guys out of the isolators. So we have the front broken loose pretty good. Now what I'm gonna do is start on our passenger side tailpipe. I wanna get that disconnected from the muffler, and in order to do that, it may slide out of this hanger here. So I'm gonna slide this guy out, disconnect it from the muffler, and then hang it right back up. And just hang it up. All right, so now we're back here working on our driver's side tailpipe. All right, so tailpipes are out of the way. Let's just lift our muffler up and slide it off. So we got our factory muffler off of our 14 Ram behind me, and it's on the table next to our Aero muffler. And I want to take you through some similarities and differences. And guys, of course, right off the bat, the first thing you're noticing is the sheer size difference between the factory one and our new muffler. The new muffler is a super small bullet style muffler with almost no chambering on the inside. So it's not going to hinder any of that airflow. It's not going to slow down that airflow. It's not going to rob you of horsepower and torque. And most importantly, it's not going to rob you of the sound that the factory muffler is going to rob you of. Now, this guy is full of interior baffling that's really muting the sounds you want out of your V8. This guy here, being in more open-ended, almost straight pipe style muffler, is really going to let that sound flourish, as you heard from our sound clips earlier on. With that said, this is a 304 stainless steel. It's got 2.5-inch tubing for the outlet, 3-inch for the inlet here to match up perfectly with your factory exhaust. Splitting to that Y outlet, you can see that it is a little bit different looking than the factory one, but that's simply because of the size difference in that muffler. So it's got a little bit more material to make up for with the hangers. It's going to be a lot longer so it can reach up to the factory location. And of course, it's just facing the other way. Now, there are new clamps included in the kit. These are band clamps as opposed to the V-band clamps that you typically get from the factory mufflers. These aren't my favorite kind of clamps. If you're looking for a really high quality clamp upgrade, it's similar to the ones that come on the factory one. You can either pop that guy off at the back end and break the welds on the front end, or you can just use the ones included in the kit. These do work. You just want to make sure you're getting them really snug so there isn't any exhaust leak. With that said, we're going to start on the install here. Let's pop this guy back up into place, making sure our clamps are installed first. First step for the install, make sure you have clamps on both ends of the muffler. We're going to start by sliding the 2 hangers into the 2 isolators above the muffler. And of course, that becomes a lot easier if you have them lubricated. Once you have them slid all the way on, bring the muffler up and connect it to the factory pipe. All right, once you have that connected, you want to slide the clamp on so that it's half on the factory muffler and half on the new muffler. All right, grab your 15 socket and tighten that down. You want to tighten it until both sides completely close. Next, I'm going to slide the factory tailpipe back out so that we can reconnect it to the new muffler. Right, you want to make sure it's sliding into the pipe clamp on the new muffler and then reconnect it to the hanger. I'm not going to tighten down that clamp just yet on the muffler. I want to connect to the other side tailpipe before I tighten them down. All right, next we're going to do the same thing on the other side, except this time it has 2 hangers. Next up, just tighten down your clamps. All right, from here, you're good to go. Well, that's gonna wrap up my review, sound clip, and install for the Aero Exhaust Direct Fit Performance Muffler with the aggressive sound for the 09 to 18 Ram 1500 with the factory dual exhaust, and you can get yours right here at AmericanTrucks.com.